Hey YouTube, it's AltoSax31. We're picking up where we left off on the Let's Play series for Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. We're kicking it off on Mission 7 today, and we've left the frozen wasteland area near Fortuna Castle, and we've come to the nice warm and tropical climate in the forest. And so when you start this mission, you want to make sure that you pick up that little egg sac thingy, because it does have some red orbs. And then of course this orb fountain that you can just destroy. I know I've said it in the last video, but I'll say it again. I'm not entirely sure if these actually count towards the red orbs game, but if you have a few seconds, I would just go ahead and destroy it. It doesn't take much to get the orbs from it. Now, heading into the next area, you're going to find yourself in this valley-like situation or area. You want to make sure you get that little egg, and then just dispatch of these chimera seeds pretty quickly. Unfortunately, they're a little bit on the weaker side, so you probably won't get too much as far as stylish gauge goes, but you know, have your fun, and to each their own. I just try and kill them really quickly, so no accidental hits, which can kind of ruin this walkthrough. But as I stated earlier in the video, those little red egg sac thingies, they're kind of hidden throughout the level, and actually the next couple levels, to be fair. You want to make sure that you kind of just stick around and look to see if there's any of them nearby, because they do help calculating your red orb total at the end of the mission. Now with these guys, the chimeras, you definitely want to keep your distance when fighting them. They do have those tentacle sword thingies that can pretty much combo breaker you in the middle of practically any type of combo, mid-air, on the ground. And so what I like to do, best practice with them, is just kind of keeping my distance and allowing them to attack, and then just kind of countering it, because you can see right there, had I attacked him too early, he would have hit me with those and basically just taken away a gold orb that I could use for the boss later on in the mission. So once you wipe them out, you definitely want to make sure to get those egg or little cocoons, I guess. Definitely want to forget these. There's quite a bit in here. Just combos, or you can do the streak attack. They're pretty good for taking out a few breakable objects at once. But, you know, once you're doing that, you can head up the stairs and take on this familiar blue fire mechanism thingy, which is infused with magic. So, I mean, to think the actual logistics of this game, you know, if people were coming through here, you couldn't advance in the level unless you had a sword to, you know, kind of activate that switch. But, you know, Capcom, Devil May Cry, you know, who doesn't have a sword in this game? So once you're finished there, you want to head on over through the doors, and you come to this kind of cliff area where you find some more of those switches. Now on this part with the Mephistos, you definitely want to kind of stay in the center of the playable area. They're not too difficult, but since they can go through the walls, it can be kind of a pain. They also have a tendency to be a little aggressive, and your movable area, or the area where you can move, is pretty small, so you could find yourself, you know, almost missing the platform like I just did. I got really lucky, but, you know, it can happen. You don't want to fall down there and have to fight those chimera assaults, or chimera scarecrows, or just basically chimera anything, because, you know, one wrong move can take away a potential life from you. So, but once you're done there, you want to head on over to this river area. There's definitely a lot of these eggs hidden throughout pretty much all the corners of this playable area. So you definitely want to check there, check under the bridge. There's a few there. There's actually also another one that's on one of these little pillars on the other side of the bridge. I do get it here in a little bit once I go back on the other side of the bridge. So this is just me going around and making sure I get everything before I head on over. It's right here where I knock it out. And I don't believe there's any on that side. And so I move on. Before I leave this area, there's definitely some right there. And since I had the max act engaged, I didn't want to waste it, so I just did the buster move. So on this next part, you definitely want to move quick. There are some chimera seeds that show up. Before they merge with the assaults, you definitely want to try and take either one of them out. So I see that there's one right there. I knock him out. This way I don't have to worry about them merging, because a chimera assault is kind of a nuisance, but unfortunately it's inevitable. So I take out the one that's closest to me first rather than going for the one that's further away. I prefer long range combat instead of close range, because there's just more things that can happen when you're closer. So this one is just an assault, not to worry about them. Actually, they're both just assaults. So as long as I keep attacking them and not letting them attack me, it definitely works in your favor. So you want to just keep that in mind when you're attacking them and fighting them. I mean, that's pretty much the summary of any engagement. Hit and don't be hit. So fortunately for me, this is the last guy. There's nobody else here. They're pretty weak, so I can taunt them a little bit and just get my Silas gauge all the way up, because that does play a part too. And so as with the other areas, you want to make sure to hit those cocoons before you exit the level, because there are a few on walls and the other side of trees. Kind of missable if you're just running through the level. So here I am trying to get the max act. I don't get it, so I just give up. And there you go. Finally got it. And then we can head on over to the next part of the map. Alright, so we're back in the valley area. This time we're on the other side of the gate. So what you want to do is activate this spinner, or I guess they're called gliders, gyros. And now this time the chimera seeds have some potential hosts, so you can attack them directly, or you can use this and hopefully it knocks some people out. And I think I've gotten a few kills with it. So doesn't help your stylus gauge, but it's a quick way to get rid of them, because if you mess it up, then they can be pretty annoying. And so this is just a scarecrow by himself. And he is out. Alright. So now once you're done, you want to go back to this area. Fortunately for me, you already went over there. But you want to hit that gyrosphere and take out that part of the fence, and you can move on over. And we find ourselves back in the ruined valley, which is at cliffside. Except this time we're above it. And so you definitely want to try and hit these cocoons, but you don't want to focus too much on them. The reason why is because I'll show you what happens here in a second. So the ones right here you can take your time getting, but once you go onto the little metal area, you definitely don't want to take too long, because then this happens right about here. So fortunately for me, I got moved over onto the next section, but what I should have done is the I forgot the name of the attack. Not drive, streak. That's what it's called, streak. I should have done the streak attack. This way I'm moving and I attack a wide area, but kind of lapse in judgment there, but it's no biggie. We still have 3 gold orbs, or we had 3 gold orbs, now we're down to 2. Doing pretty well in the mission actually, so I feel very confident that there won't be too many issues going forward. The biggest problem is, in my opinion, the boss on this level. Everything else underneath that is you can pretty much get by without taking any damage, but lesson learned. So on this part, you're pretty much really close to the end. This is the last section where you fight regular enemies, so This is a great time to help build up your stylus gauge, try and rebuild that double trigger because you will need it for the next part. So just take your time, don't do anything brash. There's a infected or just a regular chimera. Hit them with a charge shot 3 and they'll die in one shot. And you won't get hit, so it all works out. So, yeah. Trying to do a stylish finish there. And so you hit this little cocoon. You don't need the green orb, but it does help. And my recommendation would be max act, whether you want to do it swinging the sword or just charge it up, whichever way you prefer. But get it all the way up and then head on over to the boss arena. So when I start to fight, every time I fight her with Nero, I always just rush her right away. Definitely want to stay airborne because she does swing her tail around. And you don't want to get hit by it. Now on this part, you want to move around from side to side because when she does her little tentacles, she calls it on the opposite side, the side that you're on basically. When you attack her too, and she falls this one, you want to try and get up and just keep shooting, so this way you kind of glide in the air. Now right here, I messed up. She hit me, I got staggered, and then she hit me with the tentacles, which caused me to die. I try and make up for it by doing some damage while in devil trigger mode, and I do a pretty decent amount of damage to her right off the back. So fortunately for me, she goes back to her, I guess, fighting stance where she's on the floor. Once you see her do this where she's holding her head, you want to go to double trigger form and then grab her with the buster. This allows you to do this kind of move, cinematic move. While this is happening, you want to try and spam her with the summon sword, which is square, and then just keep pushing that L2 button for the Red Queen. Now, personally, I hate fighting her when she's in her golden form. So as soon as I get a chance to attack her, I take it, and I get very lucky that she goes into that confused state. So I attack her again with the Devil Buster, beat her, and I get, triple S on my style gauge. So that could have turned out a lot worse because when she's in her golden form, she's very annoying. Just the little seed attack that she has can pretty much knock you out very quickly and pretty much ruin any chances of beating this mission without a restart or a continue. So I got lucky, I took it, and I ain't looking back. So hopefully this guide on this mission, it helps you do pretty well, because as you can see, I got an S across all categories. While quite not perfect, I would say it was pretty close to being perfect. So that is it for this mission, and we will pick up on mission 8. So I will see you guys on the next one.